Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to make a short video talking about landscape photography. For those of you who are here on my channel for the first time, I am a landscape photographer as well as a college professor. I got interested in photography many years ago, back in the 1980s, when I purchased my first point-and-shoot film camera. But I didn't take photography seriously until when I bought my first SLR film camera in Australia in 1993. It was the Canon EOS 500 with two lenses, 28 to 80 mm and 75 to 300 mm. For the next 10 years or so, I used this camera to record our lives as we moved around the world, from Australia to Sweden, to Canada, and to America. In 2004, or maybe in 2005, I bought my first digital camera. I remember it was the Fujifilm Fine Pixel 3000 with only 3 megapixels. But I didn't use that camera very often. I was still using the Canon film camera for most occasions. A few years later, I purchased several more digital cameras, including the Canon Rebel T2i, a crop sensor DSLR camera. With all of these cameras, I took many pictures, some of which I still love today. However, my passion for photography as a serious hobby only started about 7 or 8 years ago when I purchased the Canon 6D, which was my first full-frame DSLR. I loved that camera so much that I used it for almost every weekend photo trip. As I fell in love with photography more and more, I bought a few more cameras, including the Panasonic GX85 and the Fujifilm X-T30, and bought several more lenses. A few years ago, when we were traveling in Arizona, I lost my camera bag with the Canon 6D and the Fujifilm X-T30 and a few lenses. It was a big loss, both in terms of money and in terms of images, because I lost several of my memory cards. And all of a sudden, I found myself having no camera. So I went to Las Vegas immediately and bought the Canon EOS R, which I'm using for this video right now. After all of these years, I don't claim that I am an excellent photographer, although I have won a few awards. But I can say that I have learned a lot from my own experience, from my mistakes, from other people, and from YouTube videos like this one. Although my channel is mostly about philosophy, history, and social life, you will see me sharing with you my experience and techniques in photography from time to time. Today, I'm going to focus on one technique of composition in landscape photography: frame within frame. So, what is a frame within frame? To put it simply, it is a method by which you put your main subject inside a frame which completely or partially surrounds the subject, such as this one. Those of you who have been to the Arches National Park in Utah will recognize this as the Delicate Arch, which is the most famous one, of course, in that park. Most people, including myself, would find themselves standing in front of the arch and shoot it this way. But I also wanted to take a more interesting shot, so I looked around and found this big mountain hole just across the arch. By composing this picture this way, I wanted to draw viewers' attention to the Delicate Arch. The frame is like the border on a picture frame you hang on the wall. It gives the viewer the impression that they are looking through something. The frame can be all kinds of objects, and it may or may not be related to the subject. It can be trees, it can be walls, buildings, or windows. It can be anything as long as it looks like a frame. The frame can be subtle, like clouds in the sky and their reflections in the water. You can also use light and shadow as a frame. The frame may be or may not be a complete frame. It can be a half frame. Now, you may ask, why landscape photographers often use this technique in composition? Well, depending on situations, there are a couple of reasons. First, it puts the subject on the focal point so that the viewer's attention is drawn to it. Your subject is thus emphasized. Sometimes, both the frame and the subject are interesting. If that is the case, you should include the whole frame in the image. Reason number 2, it creates an illusion of depth because that frame serves as another layer in your image. The frame also serves as the foreground interest, so it helps make your image looks more three-dimensional. Reason number 3, sometimes you just want to add some interest to your image. Reason number 4, sometimes you want to give some information about the context. In this situation, the frame is the environment or context. Well, that is all that I wanted to talk about today. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.